Well, hello, good morning everybody. Welcome back. Jiu-Jitsu 2000 here today. I'm back. I hope you guys are doing fantastic out there. I hope you guys are starting to warm up where you're at. We've had ice, we've had rain, we've had snow, we've had freezing temperatures, we've had wind, we've had slush, we've had it all. A lot of places out there lost their power. Look at this water bottle that's sitting out here on my bench. It is frozen solid. That's crazy. So hopefully if you lost power, you had all the provisions that you needed to get through this storm. This is a major storm. It's been crazy, all this thing all over the southern part of this country. Us as off-gridders, we did just fine getting through the storm. The lowest that our battery bank got was this morning. It was down to 37%. And I turned the power on this morning about 10 or 11 o'clock, and we are now at 44%. So if you haven't seen the couple videos that we did, it shows you a glimpse into the off-grid world as far as solar power and how the weather affects us. Hopefully you saw those and you enjoyed those. In today's video, I have a brand new offering. It's actually been on the market for a little while. It's from Olight. I'm very excited about it. It is the ArkPro Ultra. Now, I've been delayed on getting out and getting this video done because of the weather. Living off the grid, it's difficult sometimes. For those of you who don't understand lithium iron phosphate batteries, you don't want to charge them when the temperatures are below freezing. So therefore, you have to conserve all the power that you got until temperatures rise above. That's why I didn't turn the power on this morning until about 10 or 11 o'clock. I think it was 10 o'clock actually. Now you can discharge all you want, but charging, that's where you got to be careful. So without further ado, let's set this down on the bench and take a closer look at the very popular ArkPro Ultra. And here's a look at the front of the packaging. Rethink light, reimagine style. And it says here, actual product color may vary from the image. Here's the side of the box. There's the bottom. Here's the other side. And then of course there's a look at the back of the packaging. There is some contact information right there in case you want to get in touch with Olight. And without further ado, let's go ahead and take these two tabs here. There's one on the bottom and one on the top. We're going to just rip those off. This is so satisfying to do this. I love this part of the videos. It's so fun. And then let's dump this out. Look at the packaging. It's fantastic. Enjoy your ArkPro journey, it says. So right here, there's the first look at the ArkPro Ultra. We'll set that aside for a second. We'll pull this out. I just absolutely love the packaging that ArkPro and Olight has always done. Their packaging is always top notch. Now this Ultra has something that the ArkPro does not have, and that's called the ArkBeat. And that's these different colored lights that are symbols that when you activate the light, they change based on how long you've used the flashlight. So that's kind of neat. They give you this little card. So if there's anything that you want to read here, please feel free to pause and read that if you wish. And then on the back, it says it again, rethink light, reimagine style. The next thing that we see, there's the MCC charging cable. So this is an MCC1. So it's 5 volt, 1 amp charging. So you got the USB-A to the magnetic charging right there. Fantastic. There's nothing left in the package other than this portion here. So this is going to talk about lots of the things about the ArkPro Ultra. So we're going to be looking at this column here. There's all the run times and stuff like that. Here's the specifications and parameters. Here on this far column, you can see it has everything except for the red light. It doesn't have red light, but it does have ultraviolet light. It's got a laser. And then, of course, as you can see in this little chart, it has the same size battery as the original ArkPro. So fantastic bit of information that they include. There's more stuff on the back. There's QR codes there, so if you want to scan those with your camera on your smartphone, you can take a look at that. The bottom one will take you to the instructional video, and the one on the top will take you to Olight.com. So that is fantastic. Now here's a look at the light itself. Right here on the side, you can see it says USB-C charging port. Rotate the selector. You got ultraviolet light, pure flood, spot, and then you've got your laser. So I love the fact that they have two different light configurations. So you got spot and flood. I just absolutely love that they've done that with this flashlight. Now I'm looking at this material. This is made out of the OAL material, which is Olight's proprietary material. It's an aluminum blend, and it's fantastic. Right here it says, if a streak appears around the laser dot, gently clean the glass with a cloth. Because if you have any kind of fingerprints or anything around the laser, what's going to happen is your laser is going to have it's going to look like a snowflake where it touches whatever. But there's the business end. It's very interesting. Here's your charge port for your USB-C. I'm surprised that they didn't include a USB-C cable with this light. I know they included the MCC1, which is fantastic, but it would have been nice to get a USB-C cable as well. Now on the bottom here, charge to activate before first use. So we'll pull that sticker off. This light will tail stand, as you can see. And I'm going to go ahead and get this thing started on the charger. So for charging, we're just going to open the port, plug in our USB-C, and you'll notice these indicators. I'm kind of trying to shield it so you can see the indicators. It's basically telling us the status of the charging. And just for good measure, I have dimmed the overhead lights. Hopefully you can see the charging status of this light. Now, operating this light is extremely simple. So we're going to go ahead and start here on the right here. So we're going to use that selector switch. We're going to go to the spotlight. So if we want the lowest mode accessible, we'll just push and hold until we see moonlight. So there's flood and there's spot. It's really easy. Moonlight mode on spotlight is 1 lumen and it'll last 14 days. If we switch over to flood, it's also 1 lumen for 14 days. Now if we push and hold, you'll see that we jump up to low. We're on flood. This is 15 lumens for 72 hours. That's 3 days of runtime on this flood low setting. If we go to spotlight and we're on low, it's also 15 lumens, but the runtime is a little bit less. We get 66 hours out of this setting. That'll last 2.75 days. If we push and hold, we'll bump up to medium. We're on spotlight still. This is 100 lumens and it'll last for 13 hours of runtime. If we slide the selector over to pure flood, on medium, it's also 100 lumens and we get 10 hours of runtime, so slightly less. If we push and hold a little more, we'll jump up to high. Since we're still on flood, we have 520 lumens. And this is pretty nice. It'll last 155 minutes. That is 2.58 hours. And then it steps down to 100 lumens for an additional 10 minutes. Now if we go on over to spotlight, on high we have 400 lumens, so it's not quite as bright as far as lumens, but we get 125 minutes. That's 2.08 hours. And then it'll step down to 100 lumens for an additional 10 more minutes. Now that is fantastic. If we double press, we can get to turbo. So we're on spotlight turbo. This is 800 lumens for 4 minutes. Then it steps down to 400 lumens and it'll stay there for 130 minutes. That's 2.16 hours. If we go over to Pure Flood and we're on the turbo setting, that is 1700 lumens. It'll stay there for 3 minutes, then it steps down to 520 lumens for 140 minutes or 2.3 hours. That is just fantastic. If we triple press, we will get to strobe. There you can see the 13 hertz strobe. It does not specify the run times or the lumen levels of the strobe. So you can see we have strobe using the floodlight, and then we can move the selector over to spotlight and get the strobe there as well. Single press will turn the light off. And now if we come all the way over to the left with our selector, we will go to ultraviolet light. When we push the button, you can see the ultraviolet light turns on. If we push and hold, we go to high. So we have a low and we have a high on the ultraviolet light. So on low, we have 360 milliwatts of power on this ultraviolet light. This will last for 8 hours of run time. But when we get up to high, it's 1200 milliwatts of power. It'll last for 5 minutes before it steps down. And once it steps down, we'll get kind of a medium setting, 580 milliwatts, and that'll last for 300 minutes. That is 5 hours of runtime after step down. I just love the ultraviolet light on this ArkPro Ultra. Now we do have a laser by using this side button. You push the button, you can see the laser comes on. So you can kind of push and just hold that button down. You see it goes low, high, low. When it's on low, we get 0.39 milliwatts of power. That's 226 hours of runtime on that low laser. That's 9.41 days of runtime. But if we push and hold and we get to the bright laser, this one is 5 milliwatts of power, 50 hours of runtime. That is a little over 2 days of runtime. That's fantastic. Now the cool thing about this light is no matter which one of these three that we're on, so let's say we're on the spotlight, for example, and let's go to a dimmer setting here, we can access the laser momentarily, or we can click it and turn it on. So that is fantastic, and you can go between low and high. So if you want the low laser, it'll work. If you want to turn it off, maybe you want to do it on floodlight, you can do the same thing. You can do it in a momentary fashion or constant on like I showed there. So when I let up, it'll turn off. I'm in momentary. If I push and hold, push and let it go, I'm in constant. And then again, if I push and hold, you see I can switch. Low, high, low, high. It'll just keep going until I stop where I want it. So we want it on high, it's going to stay on high. And then we can cycle through the white light modes with the laser or without the laser. It's fantastic. If we go over to the ultraviolet light, the same thing applies here. We can constant on or we can momentary on. So we'll choose constant, and let's say we want the low laser. We can do that in combination with any of these settings. I really like that the light does that. That is wonderful. Now let's talk about the dimensions of this light real quick. This is 4.88 inches long. It is 1.06 inches wide and 0.63 inches thick. In millimeters, that's 127 millimeters long. It is 27 millimeters wide and 16 millimeters thick. Now this light does produce a candela rating of 10,640. Now when I'm on turbo and I'm on the spotlight, I can reach 205 meters of throw. That's a good distance of throw to get out of a small handheld flashlight. This light is impact resistant down to 1 meter, and it carries an IPX7 waterproof rating. IPX7, you can go underwater with this light, no problem. The operating temperature of the light is between 0 degrees all the way up to 45 degrees centigrade, The light weighs 120 grams or 4.23 ounces. And the arc beat, when you turn this on, you can see the new feature, the arc beat. That is pretty cool. The arc beat will automatically turn itself off after 15 seconds of being turned on. Again, the cool thing about the arc beat is the more you use the light, you get different colors out of the arc beat. So here we're looking at the flashlight. When you see the light turn on, you can see the battery level indicators on the right and the power level on the left. So moonlight mode and low, you'll get 1 indicator. Medium, you get 2 indicators. High, you get 3 indicators. And then if you double press and go to turbo, you'll get that 4th indicator. So power level indicator on the left telling you what brightness level you're on, and battery level indicator on the right. Basically 25, 50, 75, or 100%. So that is fantastic. I love those indicators. I wish they'd stay on all the time. That would be wonderful. Okay, let's go ahead and test the IPX7 waterproof rating. We're going to put it on a low setting. We're going to just drop it in the water. There you can see everything is working. Pull the light out. Let's go ahead and go to moonlight mode. You can see moonlight on spot, moonlight on flood. You can go to ultraviolet light. And if we want to cycle through the modes, there's low, medium, there's high. We can double press for turbo, and I'll triple press and we'll see that strobe. There is the strobe. We can switch over to strobe with the floodlight, and we can even add a laser. I don't know if the camera's picking it up, but I do have the laser on, and it's on high now. So that is fantastic. We can turn that off. Let's get rid of that strobe. That is very disorienting. That is just wonderful. So as you can see here, the light clearly passed the IPX7 waterproof rating with flying colors. This is a fantastic little flashlight. I love this thing. Now just a few more things that I want to talk about this light. If you're going to charge this light using the USB-C charging port, it takes about an hour and a half to fully charge this light. If you're going to use the magnetic MCC1 charger that was included with this light, it takes about 3 hours. I love the fact that there's 2 different options for charging this light. That is wonderful. The battery that's included with this light that's built in is the same battery that's in the ArkPro. It is a 2000 milliamp hour battery, operates at 3.7 volts. It does have 7.4 watt hours of capacity. This is a wonderful flashlight, folks. Okay, right now we are on moonlight mode on spotlight. This is 1 lumen for 14 days. And I'm going to switch over to flood. There's the floodlight. The pure flood is fantastic. Let's go back to spot and we'll look off in the distance. You can kind of see what's going on there. And for a moonlight mode, that's wonderful. The floodlight runtime and lumen level is the same as spotlight. So let's go ahead and bump this up to low. We'll push and hold. This is low on flood. And this is a good setting. This is 15 lumens for 72 hours. That's 3 days of runtime. Let's go ahead and switch it over to spotlight low. There's what we got there. It's also 15 lumens, but a little less runtime. We get 66 hours. So 2 3/4 of a day. Almost 3 days. If we push and hold, we'll bump up to medium. This is spotlight medium, 100 lumens. And this will last for 13 hours. Now let's go ahead and look at the floodlight on medium. So there's the floodlight, the pure flood. That is fantastic. It lights up everything. We get 100 lumens for 10 hours. That is wonderful. Let's push and hold. We'll jump up to high. We're still on flood. This is 520 lumens for 155 minutes. And once again, that's 2.5 hours of runtime. And then it steps down to 100 lumens of floodlight for an additional 10 minutes. Now we're still on high. We're going to switch over to the spotlight high. This is 400 lumens. You got a nice tight hot spot, good spill into a floody style beam. 400 lumens for 125 minutes. That's a little over 2 hours. And then it steps down to 100 lumens for 10 more minutes. Now if I double press, we're going to go to turbo, and we're going to stay on spotlight here. There's spotlight turbo. That's 800 lumens for 4 minutes, and then it steps down to 400 lumens for 130 minutes. It'll stay there for 2.16 hours after step down. That is fantastic. Let's go to flood. We're still on turbo. This is the brightest setting. 1700 lumens for 3 minutes. Then it goes down to 520 lumens for 140 minutes. So 2.3 hours of runtime after the step down. I'm going to triple press, and we're going to get on over to the strobe. Let's take a look at strobe. We're going to stay on flood here. There's the strobe on flood. I will also switch over, and I'll stay on strobe here. We're going to go to spotlight. There's the spotlight strobe. That is fantastic. Single press is going to turn the light off, and then I'm going to move the dial all the way over to ultraviolet light. We have 2 settings there. We got the first setting right here. There's the ultraviolet light. There's the high. There's the low. And on the low setting, we get 8 hours of runtime. That is fantastic. If you're looking for scorpions, looking for centipedes, looking for splinters or blood trails or anything like that, or you just want to see if something's clean or dirty like a motel room, this ultraviolet light is good for that. It's also good for looking at dollar bills to see if they're counterfeit or if they're real. If we bump it up to the high ultraviolet light, we get a little more brightness out of this. We get 1200 milliwatts. That'll last for 5 minutes. Then it steps down to 580 milliwatts for 300 minutes or 5 hours. So that ultraviolet light is very impressive with this light. And I love that you have 2 different settings, low and high. Low is very effective. And again, we get 8 hours of runtime. That is very, very nice. Now I'm going to go back to some white light here, and I'm going to turn on the laser so you can see the laser off in the distance. I'm going to stay on the floody light, and right now the laser is off in the distance, and you see me going between low. I'll look at low real quick. This is 226 hours or 9.4 days of runtime. That's wonderful. If I go up to high laser, 50 hours of runtime, or just a little bit over 2 days of runtime. Now that laser will work, whoops, bumped the camera there. That laser will work with or without the light, and with or without the ultraviolet light. I just happen to like to put it on flood and use the white light in combination with the laser so you guys can see that. And if we go to UV light, let me get switched over to the ultraviolet light, which is on right now. This is nice using the laser with the UV light, because maybe you see a scorpion or something like that, and you want to be able to point that out. And you can see I can go from low or high on the ultraviolet light. I can also go low or high on the laser. So there's lots of combinations. You see a scorpion on the ground, you can point it at the laser and then turn the laser off once your friends know, there he is right there. There he is, guys, look at the laser, and then turn it off once they locate it. So this light is fantastic. I hope you enjoyed those night shots. It's very cold out here right now in this container. And this light does have a lockout mode, so when I turn the light off, if I push and hold the side switch and hold it until moonlight mode comes on, keep holding it until moonlight goes away, it'll lock the light out. It's the same procedure as all Olights that I've reviewed. Hopefully you enjoyed those night shots. Well, folks, that's really about all I have for you today on this video, taking a look at this very popular Olight ArkPro Ultra. This thing is fantastic. I hope you enjoyed the video today. Those night shots are fantastic. I love the dual direction pocket clip. This thing is durable. The OAO material is very good for impact and scratch resistance. It is just a durable material. I love the knurling on the side of the light. It's wonderful. I want to say thank you to Olight for sending this ArkPro Ultra out for review. If you guys are interested in this or anything from Olight, I'll put link down below in the description box. So with all that being said, folks, thank you so much for watching. If you're interested in other Olights, please feel free to check out my Olight playlist. I'd appreciate your comments down below. Let me know what you think of this Olight Ultra. Please thumb up this video. If you like the type of content that you see on the channel, please hit that subscribe button, choose all notifications. And until next time, I hope each and every one of you stays warm. It's getting cold out here. I love you all. We'll see you on the next one. Bye for now, everybody.